Tonix Pharmaceuticals just finished a trial of its COVID vaccine on animals. And with me is the CEO, Seth Lederman, to explain the findings. So, Seth, I took a quick look at these. It looks pretty good. Can you go into detail about what your trial results were with this COVID vaccine?
Thanks, Jane. We're very excited. We tested our vaccine on non-human primates in an experiment where we vaccinated the animals with our vaccine versus two controls, either a sham vaccine or a vaccine that was closely related but wasn't designed to protect against COVID. And in the fourth quarter of last year, we announced very encouraging results about the immune response that these non-human primates mounted. But today, we announced that the vaccinated animals were protected against CoV-2. CoV-2 is the virus that causes COVID-19. So the top line of the results that was issued today was 6 days later, which is a relevant time in this animal model. The vaccinated animals had undetectable levels. So, and in contrast, the animals that were not vaccinated or were vaccinated with a control vaccine had much more.
Okay, well, congratulations, Seth, on that. And then you're also, in addition to that, doing a rally study enrollment. So this is a fibromyalgia treatment. Tell me about that.
Yes, it's pretty surprising that a company our size could have Monday's announcement overshadowed to some extent by Wednesday's announcement. But we thought that Monday's announcement that the rally study was 50% enrolled was a very important milestone for our company. That is our lead program. It's in phase 3 development. We already have a positive phase 3 study called the Relief Study that we announced in December, but we had begun enrolling the second phase 3 study at risk. So we were already enrolling it when we got the results from the first phase 3. But our recent announcement that it's 50% enrolled is important because that cohort that's now enrolled will be the cohort that will be analyzed in what's called the interim analysis in the third quarter. So the patients that we announced are enrolled will be analyzed to see how well they did. And in the third quarter, the interim analysis committee will get back to us with one of 4 answers. One is stop for success, that we may have already satisfied the requirement of a successful phase 3. The other is just continue as planned, and both of those are very positive announcements for the company. The third would be add more patients. Also a very positive announcement because that just increases our chances to win, but it would delay the final results. And then the fourth analysis that we're not expecting, we think is quite unlikely, would be futility. But based on the results of our successful relief study, I think that, we're hoping for one of the positive results from that.
So let's back up a bit and tell me about fibromyalgia. How big of an issue is that? What kind of market could this be?
It is a big problem and a big market. Fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition, and people who have it experience pain from basically when they're diagnosed with fibromyalgia till pretty much the end of their lives. It is unique because the pain is experienced all over the body, and that makes it very disabling, unpleasant, and frustrating for fibromyalgia patients. The pain is the most predominant symptom, but there are 2 other important syndromes. One is a sleep problem that's associated with it, and another is fatigue. So there are about 10 million United States adults who are believed to have fibromyalgia, and most of them are treated, but more than half of them are dissatisfied with the medicines they're taking. And you see that dissatisfaction play out in a couple of ways. One is that they switch between medicines, both approved medicines and unapproved medicines. Another way you see that dissatisfaction is that they take more than one medicine for fibromyalgia at the same time. On average, American adult fibromyalgia patients take 2.6 medicines, meaning that almost the average is to take 3 different medicines at once. And I think that is frustration because the existing medicines only act for the most part on pain. And what's really needed is something that has broad spectrum activity.
Now, when will you have the results from the Rally study?
So we'll have the interim results from Rally in the third quarter of this year, and we'll have the top line results before the end of the year.
Okay. And then what are the next steps then for this fibromyalgia treatment?
Well, because we're basically repeating a positive study, we've begun at risk to prepare the new drug application. So with positive data from the Rally study in the second half of this year, in the fourth quarter of this year, we believe that we will be in a position to submit the new drug application to FDA in the first half of 2022. And once the NDA is submitted, it's about a year to approval. So we have already completed a lot of important elements of the of what's required. For example, we've completed long-term toxicology, we've completed fed fasting, dose proportionality, all sorts of things that most people don't focus on. So essentially, what we need left is to have a positive p-value on this second confirmatory phase 3 study.
Okay. And then finally, you just released your 10K, your annual report. Can you kind of highlight that? What might investors be interested in?
Thanks. Yes, the 10K was issued on March 15th. And I think some of the things that are important to investors is that we announced that at the end of 2020, we had $77 million in cash. We have a simple balance sheet. We have no debt. We have no preferred stock. And we have a simple cap structure that we have a minuscule number of warrants, and they're not material to our cap structure. So I think that's a very healthy balance sheet, a very simple cap structure, which I think investors appreciate. We also announced or summarized that already in 2021, we have raised gross approximately $110 million in 2 offerings. So between the $77 million that we had at the end of the year and the $110 million gross that's been raised in 2021, I think we're on solid financial footing to pursue our objectives of 2021.
And what are your objectives for 2021?
Well, the most important objective, as we discussed, is to bring home the Rally study, the confirmatory phase 3 study in fibromyalgia, which with a positive study, a drug ready for NDA, would be transformative to our company. The other big thing we're hoping for, again, something we talked about, is to get our COVID-19 vaccine, TNX 1800, into a phase 1 human study.
Okay. Well, thank you. Very interesting update, Seth, and best of luck. And please come back and update us as these trials and studies go on throughout the year.
Thank you very much for your interest.
Thank you. petproducts.com. Thousands of products and